welcome to another episode of Red Pill Nomad, RPN. Right, in this episode, I am going to talk about how success, massive success, is your best revenge. I mentioned in previous meetings, I'm 44, and at my age, I've lived long enough to have dealt with this with friends, family, and coworkers, and exes. And it's a sad reality that relationships come and go, that you're going to deal with narcissists, jealous, envious types, the unlucky, the unhappy, right? And I've met my fair share of all of those categories. And so, let me also add codependent. My experience has been that usually those closest to you are the ones most likely to say some nasty stuff or be envious or jealous of you. In a way, it makes sense because they know who you are. You probably have had a relationship with them for years, if not decades. So let me give a couple of stories or anecdotes. For me, in my experience, well, I was chubby as a tween, as they call it, teenager, young teenager. By the time I was in my last 2 years of high school, through college, through my 20s, I was very, very into fitness and lost weight, became muscular, etc. And yeah, I would work out easily 6 days a week, sometimes 8 or 9. And I would eat relatively healthy. And it showed. I'll never forget that I wanted to do, again, the endurance racing, marathons, etc. I had an uncle, still have one, who ran multiple marathons, etc. And I always looked up to him and reveled or relished his stories. So I decided to follow suit. My mid to late 20s. And I attempted my first half marathon in the early fall. No, I think it was late summer. Excuse me. Alone. And by then I joined a running club, which, speaking for myself, exponentially assisted me and helped me with getting into shape and doing long distance running, and eventually running 4 marathons, completing 4 marathons, attempting 4 marathons. But the first half marathon I did not complete. I actually collapsed of heat exhaustion, heat stroke, just before the finish. And I was alone. And yeah. On the day that there was a family event, and this was a state away. So actually, my uncle, the one who had done the marathons, came and picked me up from the hospital. And because I woke up in the hospital from running, I just collapsed. Heat exhaustion, dehydration. I rabbited myself. I did not anticipate such a lack of water. They did not, it was not a large race at all. They especially towards the end of the race, they did not have the water stations, right? They just didn't have the support. And because it was a small race, I think they just weren't anticipating amateur or beginners or as many. And yeah. Anyhow, uncle picked me up from the hospital, and we went to a family event. And yeah, I had an uncle, my late mom's closest brother, tell me I would never complete a marathon. Wasn't trail that movie Rudy, where the dad's like, we're Rudigers. There's nothing wrong with Rudigers. We just, we're not that. And it's like, yeah. So I had said I stayed stoic. And as I mentioned, I went on to complete 4 marathons. All 4 I attempted, ran a number of half marathons and 5Ks, 10Ks. Even wound up doing 2 half Ironmans, multiple triathlons, sprint, Olympic size, etc. So the whole point is that my uncle gave me more motivation to finish than I could ever have given myself. I started my own business in 2007. I had family and friends tell me to get a real job or take a job with the government, etc. That gave me more motivation. I had coworkers that they're smarter than me, blah 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 blah. That gave me more motivation. I've had friends, even to this day, that compete. There's nothing wrong with competition, but when it's blatant jealousy and insecurity, yeah, live your life. Don't be afraid to be alone. Live your life. Know that relationships come and go. Having some challenges with nuclear family as we speak. And know those boundaries. Know that success, being happy, living a good life will do more to the haters and their detractors than any response or reaction will ever do, words or physical intimidation, whatever. Now, I started my business in 2007, as I mentioned. One of the drivers for that was I was doing the corporate thing up until then. And I was doing well. I was working my butt off, and it was never enough. I asked for a 10% raise. I think I got like a 3%, which I was thankful for, but I was doing 2.5 jobs. They knew it. I knew it. They were just going to ride it out. And yeah, so eventually I moved on from this corporate gig to more of a small business opportunity while I was getting my business off the ground. And yeah, I ran into the executive who he and I butted heads a bit before I eventually left. And he was nice enough, but it always was kind of a cocky, arrogant dude. And yeah, he was like, what you up to? I was like, no good as usual, which I little cocky 20-something response, I suppose, but I didn't have much time for the guy. He went from being an executive, getting pushed out, and he started his own thing. It didn't last very long, as far as I could tell. So, yeah, be stoic, be yourself, find happiness, find your purpose. All the haters and the detractors and the envious and the jealous and the unlucky and all that will go away. They may say things or do things that sting or hurt you. But again, speaking for myself, if you're in your mid-40s, by now you should, by middle age, you should be a little callous. Especially if you've lived your purpose and tried things, even if you didn't succeed, or been extremely successful. Yeah, you're people being people. You're gonna have dealt with some nonsense and heartbreak. I won't say regret, but just you'll have lived and learned those life lessons. So yes, I think Frank Sinatra said it, and I'm sure many others have. The best revenge is massive success. Work on yourself, focus on your purpose. Don't let the knuckleheads be knuckleheads. All right, Red Pill Nomad. Till next time.